not a checklist to determine if I have autism. It is more of an interview, especially looking at your childhood behaviors before you started masking and learning how to fit into society. On my channel homepage, I have loads of playlists because I love to categorize. It's the resources that I found helpful in discovering about myself, as well as the videos that I put out there. And I just need to say, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a medical professional. I am on the autistic spectrum. I do have obsessive compulsive disorder, and I have known it for a while that I am a highly sensitive person to the spiritual realm, but I really took some time to look into the distinctions between these things. And ADHD, of course, hasn't gone away. Being diagnosed with ADHD at age 39, I'm going to try, be short and sweet and to the point, 10 autistic tendencies that I've had since forever. Right? So as a baby, first one, apparently people with autism have gastrointestinal issues. I couldn't stomach milk, screamed my head off, and finally they got a goat, and I drank goat's milk. Number two, overstimulating sensory perception, easily overstimulated. My mom talked about how she couldn't take me in the car because I would literally scream my head off the entire time. I hate being in the car. I read in my baby book that my favorite pastime, my mom wrote, likes to brush teeth. And I was like, what? And she said I just walk around with my toothbrush in my mouth, and every once in a while I do that in my mouth. And I mean, really, that is self-stimulating behavior. You know, similar to if severe autism, they do hand flapping or rocking. I find myself rocking quite a bit, actually. And I still love to brush my teeth, like really the trauma of my sister leaving for school. So I have two siblings that are way older, and then one that's just right next to me in age, 2.5 years older, and I'm the baby. When the one that's close to me left for school, left for pre-K, my mom told me I lost my mind every day when she would leave for school, to the point that my mom went and begged the pre-K to please take me at 2.5 and don't make her wait till I'm 3. She couldn't take it anymore. And now that I look at it through the lens of autism, I honestly think that it was a routine disrupted. I was used to my sister being there playing with me, and then she wasn't for most of the day, and I could not wrap my little toddler brain around that change. Then moving on to primary elementary school, my routines become, you know, making my bed literally every day, tucking in all the beautiful bed made every day. With school, kid art projects. One of my older two sisters is a professional artist. She's incredible. I'm gonna go ahead and add the link to her website so you can check out. When I say she's an incredible artist, I really do mean that. Her and her husband both. She was living on her own, an established artist by the time I was in elementary school. But she did come and visit and would notice my art projects had a little extra than your typical 5-year-old. There's a plate that I drew on that I pulled out. I'm like, oh, this is delightful, you know. And it says Happy Father's Day, so I give it to my dad for another Father's Day because that's how I roll. But my use of color and patterns and balancing the picture is evident even then. I have a poster from Valentine's Day that I actually put up because it encourages me to love myself and remember that God loves me, and I marvel at the balance of it, even at the young age. Okay, I have a doily here, I need one here, I need one here, you know? It's fascinating to me. And comment below with anything that rang true for you, or any aha moments, or any questions you have for yourself or about me. I would really value anything that you'd like to share. So a major part of neurodivergence is the people that you surround yourself with, or that are attracted to you and stick around. Because neurotypical people tend to not really like to hang out for long periods of time around us. So that's bummer. But in early primary school, like first grade, second grade, third grade, I had this great nerdy creative friend. I love you, Lisa. You're wonderful. And we were super nerds. It was California, so recess was always outside. The big black top had all these painted things on it, and they had this like concentric circles, smaller one within a big one, and we never used it in PE. And she and I were like, how can we let's make up a game with these circles. They need to be used. And they look like fun. Let's think of something fun. And so we made this game that was like, the person in the middle would have the ball, like a 4-square ball, and the person on the outside, and they would say a state, and they'd bounce it to the person on the outside, and they had to say the capital city within like 3 seconds or something and bounce it back. Or I think it was like the musical Keeping the Beat. You had to say it in a steady beat or you were out. So there wasn't even counting involved. It was just like boom, 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 and you had to keep it going. And if you messed up, you switched places. Oh my gosh, we were nerds. So yeah, nerdy friends with nerdy creative pastimes. I really love to categorize and organize. That was a major thing for me, which is like counterintuitive to ADHD, but maybe it helped. I think maybe that's what. Anyway, that's a whole nother video. Always wanted my colors to be rainbow order when I put them back in the box. Oh, my toys, I would categorize those. Like one basket was my little toy cars from McDonald's, and one basket was rocks that I found interesting, you know, nerd. Number 9, I was super clumsy and uncoordinated. PE was horrible and got worse with puberty, but we'll talk about that later. I have always struggled with this, and I still do it. I'll walk around a corner and judge it wrong and clip my shoulder, my arm, like constantly. Furniture, same thing. And then tripping over my feet. Right. And number 10, before my dogs get too rowdy, is that I've always been a top-down thinker. Now, that's Temple Grandin's term. I always saw it kind of like, I like the big picture, or I can zoom in real quick. You know, I can stand back and see the big picture, and here's what I want to create. Now, how do I get there? Here's the steps to create that picture. Example from my early childhood was that when I got an allowance, I always saved it, like almost always. And it wasn't just because I was hoarding. Hoarding is also a OCD trait, but it was like a conscious thought, like, well, if I save this, then I'll have more. And then I'd have options for what I want to get in the future. I could get something really nice. Like, what kid thinks that way? Like, what kid? Especially a kid with ADHD, right? But yeah, that's my top-down thinking that is an autistic trait. So that's all I'm gonna cover today. You can click the screen now to go to the next video where I'm gonna talk about the first major trauma of moving and onset of puberty and how those traits showed up more vividly. Or you can go to my channel and just check out all the resources that I think might be helpful. Thank you for your time. Thanks for listening, and I will see you at the next one.